the first thing that you want to do is you want to turn off the water. So back here in the right side of the toilet, to the left of us, there's a nice valve, and you want to shut down that valve, right? So you shut it down, because otherwise, if you open these hoses with that on, there's going to be water everywhere. So that's the first step. And then the second step is you flush, right? You see, you don't hear the bathroom filling up. Let's flush again to make sure there's absolutely no water in the tank. So you clear all the water in the tank. That's the second step. Third step, you wanna have a towel so that you put it under the hose, because there's going to be a hose down here that you're going to have to undo, right? And there might be some water coming out, and that is right here on this side right here, and you unscrew it, right? Now this is connected to the flusher, so that's why there's going to be water, because this hose goes into the toilet tank and it fills it up. There should be some water coming out, right? Maybe you find something, right, so that when the hose, something so that when the hose, the hose out, you're going to put that hose in there. The excess water is going to go in there. It flushed pretty well. The water in the hose is empty, and that is the third step. Next step, you want to put the two plastic parts together. You see? And they're going to click. They're going to make a click together. You see? Now, they turned into one unit. Remember, this is the front. This goes to the back. You understand how set includes silicone tape, and you might want to put it around the seals to make sure that the seal is nice and flush and it won't leak any water. So that's the way that I do it. Not too much, because then it's going to be hard to screw on. You see? So now it's sealed with the silicone tape. You're gonna do this in all of them, or at least that's what I do. Next step, you're going to connect to the water inlet using this wing nut. You see? You can first screw it with your hand. You see? You screw it with your hand. You don't need any tools. This is so cool because it includes this wing nut. And with this wing nut, you can tighten it more, but remember to never over tighten. Next step is to insert these rubber mats. They go right there. It's pretty much self-explanatory, and they click right in. You see? Right there. And then do the other one. You want to make sure that they are symmetrical on both sides. You see the other one I did easy, but you want to make sure that there's some symmetry there, so that it's nice right there. This is going to go against the porcelain surface, and it's going to prevent the unit from slipping. Now we're going to connect this T-valve right here. They recommend, and they say that you can install it first and it shouldn't leak, because it's really well made. This is really well made, a valve. But if it does leak, and we're gonna do the troubleshooting right when we turn off turn on the water again, then they recommend that you put the Teflon tape on the valve down there. So you come back here and you're gonna, right, do it. And remember that when you're installing anything on porcelain, you cannot, when you're installing anything on porcelain, you cannot over tighten. You have to tighten it until it feels nice and tight, but that's it. You don't want to overdo it. Then you're going to connect the water supply to the bottom of the valve, right? With the same rule applies here. You want to do it, but no over tightening, because, well, it could turn into a problem. Now, when the other thing that you want to do is when you are installing the valve, you want to make sure that the take-up valve is pointing this way, right? When you finish tightening, because we're going to connect this hose right here. We're going to connect it to it, and it's better if that on the T valve is accessible this way. Okay, so I'm tightening here and tightening here. I'm gonna provide a picture of how this looks. It's just that right now, right, for the sake of trying to do this real quick, right, so the video is not too long. Okay, so now I make sure this is pointing in the correct direction. And you want to make sure when you're doing this that you're really careful, right? You don't want to over tighten this, that this installation turns into a disaster, especially if the valve where the water comes, the water take, is made out of plastic. Because what happens is sometimes those plastic valves has been there for 20, 30 years. And if you move it the wrong way, it's gonna break. And then you're gonna have a disaster in your bathroom. So be wary of how you move, the movements that you do with that. So after connecting everything in here, you're going to go in here, right? And you are going to open the water valve, right? And you want to keep your hands around here, right? To make sure there's no... The next step is you're going to put these in here, because you're going to want to align them to these holes right here. So let me present it to you so you see how it goes. You come here, you see, and there you go. It's nice and presented there, right? Now what I'm going to do is connect before I go ahead and fix the lid to this, I'm going to connect the bidet to the water source. Now we're gonna take the toilet lid and we're going to put the screws through here, you see? And we're going to present it here. There you go. And now we go through the other side and screw these on the bottom. So this is the final product. You see? The valves or the nozzles are right in the middle. The valve is right here to the side, conveniently. And then I'm going to show you how I made the connections, right? So what we were not able to see. Okay, so that is the T-valve that I installed, and this goes to the toilet, this goes to the water, And this hose goes to this connection right here that goes into the bidet, and then you can control the water pressure and everything that happens in there. Now I'm going to show you how the water pressure and how much water pressure you can get from it. So this is the bump side and this is the front side. So it's two different kind of nozzles, and I'm going to show you how they work. So now we're doing the bump side. You see? And then we're doing the other side. Let's do the other side. That's the front side. So they have different angles, and of course, as you use your bidet, you're going to be able to adjust where you want that nozzle to point. Maybe you need to move this a little backwards, or maybe move it a little forward, but you get the idea. The further this way you do it, the harder the pressure. The same to the other side. So if you want really hard pressure, let me show you how it looks. You see, it's a lot of pressure. Now to the other side as well. If the other nozzle is going to come out. But you see that they have different angles. So there you go. This is the installation and the test. And I hope this is